This is still the POLITY, and we're reaching live from the Abuja studios of KAFTAN TV. Right now, it's time for us to go into the issues making the rounds. Nigeria's 25 years into uninterrupted democracy, and also 1 year into the reign of President Tinubu as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Joining me to analyze the issues making the rounds is a political commentator and a lecturer, Ejiro Unuata. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Adeniyi.
Thank you so much. I'm very well. And my second guest for the afternoon is going to be the Director General, Conyssa, Ambassador Adeniyi. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for honoring us with your presence on the program today. I'm going to be starting from the left-hand side of the studio. How would you rate President Tinubu's okay, before we go into President Tinubu's 1 year in office, what are your thoughts on Nigeria as a whole, 25 years into uninterrupted democracy against all odds? In 1999, a lot of Nigerians felt like it was just going to be a short-term thing before the military do their thing again. But then we are 25 years into the journey. How would you rate the journey so far?
Well, for me, I think the journey is slow and steady, but we are cruising on along. And
slow and steady. Is it really steady? We can agree that it is slow, but is it steady?
I would say steady because when you compare us to other African countries who have been through one civil war or the other, you know that we're making progress, and we've not had any coup, you know. So I think I would like to say a big congratulations to all Nigerians because we are not there yet, but we are making efforts. Just one or two ups and downs that we really need to look into so that we can have a perfect democracy, because what we have now is not, I don't think we are there yet, you know, given the fact that the way some of these persons get into office, you begin to wonder if really this is democracy we're practicing, but it's slow and steady. But
now that's exactly where I'm heading to. You have said it is slow and steady, and we are gradually pushing towards the mark. Can we, in the actual sense, say that we are pushing forward? It's one thing to be moving, and it's another thing to be moving forward in the right direction. Looking at our electoral system, looking at the fact that you just questioned the manner at which some of the people who are supposed to pilot the affairs get into the offices, looking at our justice system, looking at the general well-being of Nigeria, can you still actually say that we are moving in the right direction, or we are moving slowly and steady? My key word there is the steady. I want us to establish.
Yes. Well, I understand what you're trying to say. The thing is this: in a country where people, it's as if they buy the election, the judgment and all that. We see different judgment coming out from every angle. It seems more like the highest bidder gets to win the election, and so it's quite sad anyway in that aspect. But like I said, it is slow. Then the steady comes, because looking at what we had so far, we will just hope for a better system, but we're not there yet. We're not there because the process that bring in some of these leaders is quite faulty, and the persons who eventually get to that position, how do they get there? Are they persons who are willing to sacrifice? What are the sacrifices that these guys are giving to Nigerians? All they do is they push the bulk of everything to the man on the street to bear the brunt. While they're in office, they don't really want to sacrifice. Until the day we see a political office holder come out to say, I want to do this for Nigeria, splash my salary to 50%, then I'll say we are there. Because for now, we just have people who just want to come and grab from the national cake.
Okay then, Ambassador Adeniyi, how would you rate Nigeria's 25 years into uninterrupted democracy? Mr. Ejiro has just said that the movement has been slow and steady, but I still want us to have it at the back of our mind that we can be moving in a circle and the movement can be steady. It doesn't mean that we're necessarily moving forward. Looking at 25 years into uninterrupted democracy, can we actually say that we are moving in the right direction?
First of all, we look at democracy and we look at military rule and era. Then we look at the aspect of development. We look at aspect of productivity. We look at aspect of recognition. So if you look at the military era and the democracy era, you get to understand that there is a serious lacuna between the military era and the democracy. Now, you got to understand that most of the effective edifice we are having that the government is using as of today in the 25 years journey is still some of these structures, edifices that were built during the military era. So I also understand from the angle of the fact that the steady aspect of it, the truth remains that if you come into the electionary process of the democracy, you got to understand that there is no difference during the election period and military dictatorship, where you see every politician want to get it by all means. You see arms, you see thuggery. So you got to understand that there's no difference. But yet, democracy has been able to be sustained for the last 25 years because the interest of the elders, the elder council of the cartels, who want to retain power within their cycles.
When you say cartel, who are the cartels?
No, don't worry, we'll get to that point. We'll get there. I'm still talking.
When you
I'm still talking. I'll get to that point.
Who are the cartels?
It is a continuous sentence. I'm not done yet. Okay. I will get to that point. Okay. Now, these cartels felt that if we failed to sustain democracy, automatically we will lose it all. So, for them, they must do everything possible to make sure that democracy is sustained. Not because of the interest of the country, but because of the interest, their personal self-interest. I want to assure us today, if military take over, most of all these big men today, big politicians will go bankrupt. Because most of the stolen wealth of this country will be recovered back. But during democracy, it is very difficult. You know, you have to pass through rigorous process of court processes. You hear one judgment today, and tomorrow you get another judgment, and that is why you see EFCC not succeeding. Because you got an affidavit today, you get another counter affidavit tomorrow. The case of Yaya Bello and EFCC, you can see that, and many others like that. So now you got to understand that yes, the democracy has been sustained. It is good for us all. But yet, we need to ask ourselves, what level of successes have we really been able to achieve in that 25 years? This is where we will now compare and contrast and look at the level of productivity. Before now, you know how we enjoy NEPA light in local communities. Today, it's nowhere to be found. How we enjoy good foods, fresh foods. Today, it's nowhere, it's disappearing. 60% of the food we eat today are chemically preserved. So all this is area we will contextize our leaders to look inward, to make democracy more sweet and a kind of more desiring to the general citizens of the country. But let's not forget that as far as democracy is concerned, it is the best way to go.
Okay, thank you so much for your beautiful submission, but I'd love to take you back to a point you made earlier. You made mention of the fact that the democracy we enjoy today is not, we are not enjoying it because the cartel feel like it is in the interest of the general populace, but because some people are benefiting massively from it. Because you made mention of it, I want you to elucidate on what you meant by the cartel.
Now, I want you to understand this. Nigeria is a country where some of us I'm getting to your point. I'm getting to your point.
Excuse me, Ambassador.
I want to help you. I want to help you. Let me help you.
I know.
Let me help you. I know you needed a point. I know you needed a point.
Excuse me, Ambassador. I need to clarify something here. You know, when we're in a discourse here, right, and we say the political elites, we already have an idea of who we are talking about.
Political elites.
When we talk about government functionaries, we already have an idea of who we are talking about. When we talk about traditional leaders, we have an idea of who we are talking about. But in the context of democracy, if you bring cartel into it, for the average listener, we need to be able to, you know, put it to them this and juxtapose the relationship between cartel and democracy, and that is the reason why I'm asking you.
Yes. Now, the point is this, that who are those that felt that this country...
You should tell us.
We'll get to that point.
Okay.
Now, that this country should remain under democracy, what have they been able to use the democracy to achieve for the citizens of the country? Have we really been able to attain that desire that brought democracy in 1999 from that time till now? Then what is level of crime committed against humanity from that 1999 till date? Compare it to level of crime that was committed during military era. You get to understand, if properly scrutinized, that the demo from 1999 to date, you see contract being awarded out and nobody can ask question that what happened to these billions that was pushed into this kind of project. Now, these people that are given this project, do you think if military should take over power and government and democracy is truncated, do you think they will remain here in the country? They will not remain. But the fact is that we must understand that for democracy to sustain and survive, there are some certain persons that God has given power to propel things.
Who are these people that God has given the power?
We have them in the north, we have them in the south, in the six geopolitical zones.
My father is in the south. My father is in the southwest.
Your father is also a leader in the country.
He's a leader in the family.
So no, in the country. Your father is a leader in the country because he's another statesman.
My father does not have the power to decide if Nigeria should remain in democracy.
Yes.
Military rule.
Yes. As a citizen. Yes, he has that power.
Okay, Ambassador Adeniyi, I'll be back to this very issue, but I'd love Sir Ejiro to react to Ambassador's submissions.
Well, I can see that the ambassador is really not wanting to give it to you the way you expect him, because he made mention of the cartel.
We'll be back to it.
In other words, I think he probably wants to say the cabals. Because they are cabals, whether you like it or not.
I love that word.
Okay, now when we still talk about cabals, I think it will be fair on our viewers, it will be fair on our audience, it will be fair on Nigerians to have an idea who these cabals are.
Well, when you say cabals, these are people who surround the president.
Okay.
By extension, these are persons who probably sponsor his campaign or play one or two major roles in bringing him to power.
You mean people like his special advisors?
I've not called name.
Okay.
So it's up to you to put two and two together to know these persons. Okay. But these are the persons that surround him.
Okay.
And to an extent, these persons are even part of the problem, if not the problem.
Okay.
Because sometimes they kind of prevent some information from getting to the president. You understand? So until we're able to do away with this cabal, it's just like having a godfather. We saw the Wike Fubara incident. When you have a godfather, there is no way the godfather will not control you. That is why you see after 1 or 2 years or 6 months or thereabout, they fall out. Why? Because the human mind is independent. And you don't want to be someone to spoon feed you, tell you do this, do A, do B, and do C. You want to do things yourself because posterity will judge you tomorrow. People will call your name and quote you. In Mr. This era, this is what he did, this is what he failed to do. Then there will be nobody to remind them that it was the Godfather that was controlling him. So as a person, you have your mind. Even God made it easy for man that you have an independent mind to think and do things the way you want. So moving forward, Nigerians should begin to sort out leaders that are independent in the way they think. Leaders that will not subject themselves to cabals. And how do you get these cabals? If someone comes to me too and say, oh, Francis, I am going to sponsor you to go to the National Assembly or go to become the governor of your state, you should know that that guy is not a Father Christmas. There's something he would want to return on his investment. So that is just the way it is. So it is now time for the electorate to understand that any money you get during election, they will always reap back their money. So don't complain when this thing starts happening.
Okay, now I just want us to get something straight here now. As a parent, you work day and night to find money to pay your son's school fees. You pay your son's school fees, and not even a thank you. It doesn't even remember to tell you thank you. How would you feel about it?
It is your responsibility actually to pay your son's school fees. Thank you or no thank you should not stop you.
So you're technically saying the child can be forgiven for being ungrateful.
What I'm saying, it boils down to parenting, how you were able to bring up that child. So because if your child is properly brought up, there is no way he will not tell you thank you. You don't need to remind him. So
we can also say that if the Godfather has had properly mentored the godson, we won't be having the issue of fallout between Godfather and godson. But then let's take a look at other issues. I want us to go deeper into the one-year administration of President Bola Tinubu. And on his campaign, he came with an 8-point agenda, which I'm going to quickly read out right now. He came with he promised economic reforms for sustained growth, strengthening national security, bolstering agriculture for food security, unlocking energy and natural resources, enhancing infrastructure and transportation, education, health and social investment, economic reforms for sustained growth, and also improving governance. I want us to take one or two of these reforms before we go to the next issue. Let's take a look at economic reforms for sustained growth. When we talk about the economic reforms for sustained growth, the first two things that comes to the mind of Nigerians is the fuel subsidy removal and the floating of the naira. How would you rate the performance of President Bola Tinubu in the last 1 year?
Well, it's quite interesting. To me, personally, I feel is a cocktail of unfulfilled promises.
Cocktail of unfulfilled
promises.
Yes,
that's the way I'll caption it, because but to be fair to Mr. President, I feel 1 year is not enough time to really judge him or give him a proper score. As a lecturer, there's a way you assess your students, and you know that, okay, this student probably, if given more time, could do better, or you probably see the future from the now, that you know that, oh, this guy is not going anywhere. So for me, in order to be fair to Mr. President, I think 1 year is not enough time, given the fact that he inherited a comatose economy. So I would prefer to just, in a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give him 4.
4.
Yes, because if you look at the economy, multiple taxations, Nigerians, it's just like you're choking Nigerians. Multiple taxation. You see, we know how the first subsidy is gone statement. You see, that's why as a leader, you must be careful the kind of statement you put out there. Yes, we know he's not the one that took out the first subsidy. He only announced it. But what are the measures on ground to cushion the effect? What are the measures he puts in place to make that happen? Because Nigerians are suffering. People who could afford 3 square meal these days, if you get one, you thank God, because it's not easy on them. So the president needs to start looking at putting one or two policies in place that could really cushion whatever effect, whatever policy they want to bring out there. I'll give it to him that he's a very courageous man in terms of making decisions. He takes very bold decisions, but there are no backups to some of these decisions.
All right, then I just want to add a little to what you just said, that so people who could who were eating 3 square meals before right now they cannot afford it. I just want to make cite another example here. You know, before now, when you're trying to move from point A to point B, you stand by the roadside. There are certain cars you see on the road, and you know, and you just conclude that this is not this is not a tax, this is not walking, this is not a taxi car. But right now, you know, some of the beautiful cars you can find on the road now are now picking passengers to augment the money for their
ends meet. You see, one thing I fault this particular administration for is you're increasing taxes of everything, but you're not increasing their wages. So how do you want these people to even survive?
We'll get to the minimum wage issue before the show runs off. Ambassador, let's take a look at the 1 year in office of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He met the inflation rate at around 22%, and right now, as we speak now, the inflation rate is at about 33-point-something%. I can't really, that's according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. If we take a look at statements coming from the president's camp, from the APC, they have lashed the presidential candidate of the PDP, that all his criticisms are coming from a place of hate, from a place of delusion that Nigeria has made a significant amount of growth within the last 1 year. How would you assess the last 1 year?
Firstly, just like my brother said, that there were a lot of problems that were kind of compounded on ground that this present administration met.
Let's not forget that government is a continuum.
Yes, it's a continual thing, and that is why I said there are a lot of problems. So automatically, it's just like when somebody is sick, you get to the hospital, you have to run some tests. So after running the test, the result is what will now tell what type of treatment should be given to you. And just like he said, a year is not enough to give a scorecard. A lot of persons are calling the 1 year a scorecard, let people come and show. For me, of the truth, the government have not done anything. That's the truth. The government have not done anything because they are still in the X-ray room, scanning. Yes, exactly. They are still scanning. They cannot. Some of all this area they are touching it for those bad areas in it to pop out. You know, because there are some of it's just like an orange. The outside is very beautiful. When you peel it, you get to discover that there are some areas inside that are more decaying. So there are a lot of decay parts in the activities of the country, in ministries, in MDAs, and different parastatals, even the National Assembly. So now the fact remains that the country is in total mess at the moment. Nobody can shy away from it. I was just sharing with somebody some moments ago that there are some family that cannot eat, thinking on what to eat. Okay, somebody posted something that he is praying for families that cannot survive to eat night meal. You understand? So it is annoying when you see people calling you, please, can we get 2,000 naira to feed for this week? You weep. So that is the situation we find. It has never been worse this way. So, and the fact remains, the president never meant it this way. But the problem, just like we're talking about cartel, those that surround that particular government as at that time are always a problem because they don't allow the rightful information to come in. And when you now look, that is part of the reason why security is failing. Because the right information is not coming. They will not allow the head to get the right information. But when you get the right information, you want to do the right thing. So, and this is where these problems are coming from. So until the government understand that there is need to deal with source or problem, then in the next another 12, 16 calendar month, we cannot begin to tell that yes, this administration is actually doing well. Now, the government also met insecurity. The question myself and you will now ask is, has insecurity been dealt with? No. There was issue of fuel challenges in the last administration. Has it been dealt with in the last 1 year? No. Food commodity. If you go to the market, it is annoying that if you take 100,000 to market, you will not be able to account what you use it to buy. So and that is the area he talked about taxation. It was funny. I was traveling from Benue. I was following another vehicle from the back that carried mangoes. My brother, the checking point where this man was paying money, there are places he paid 2,000, there are places he paid 5,000, there are places he paid 1,000. Till Nasarawa State. Such a mango should be sold at 200 naira or 150. But getting to Abuja, it ended up being sold for 1,000 because of different taxation. So this is too cumbersome on the people, and it's also affecting business not to strive. And the presidency must look into this. If really in another 12 calendar month, the scorecard will really be rated, there is need to look into all these areas. And this will really help us as a country. But in a nutshell, I must say this, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 12 calendar months, yes, has been able to bring his expertise on board. Firstly, where he shocked me. For me, I felt that he is not too strong to a kind of carry out. But behold, the way he bounced, the way he moved, and the level of presentations he make, I felt that he has good intention for the country. And on that note, is people like us calling on those around him, the ministers, the SA, the SSA, the advisors, they should all come on board to really make the intentions and the desire of this man to come to realisticness. Because he told us he has not come to acquire wealth anymore because he already have it. But his foot soldiers, they are not satisfied yet. But the interest of their principal should be their priority. So if the interest of their principal become the priority, then in the next 12 calendar month, after this May 29, we are going to get serious result than what we have gotten so far.
All right, then. I'd like to ask you two questions that concerns you, and I would want you to respond to them at once. First is the minimum wage issue. The Labour walked out of the negotiation between themselves and the federal government. The Labour are proposing, they have cut down on their proposal from the 615,000 naira. They are now requesting for 494,000 naira. On the part of the federal government, they have added to their earlier proposal from 57,000 naira. Now they are now saying, okay, we are going to add 3,000 naira to what we are offering to take the minimum wage to 60,000 naira. Let's not forget the fact that only a bag of rice is sold for that in the range of
75
for that amount right now. What are your thoughts in that regard? Then secondly, I want you to talk about the education sector, because I said it concerns you directly because it affects you. You are a stakeholder in that very sector. There are talks of the government lecturers, the ASU, embarking on another strike now. How would you rate the government, this present administration, how would you rate their commitment to the education sector so far? Well, and your projections too.
Well, for the part of Labour and the government, the both parties are not being realistic.
Good.
That's just the way I see it.
That's the truth.
Because how can Labour say
490
400,000 is not being realistic? We should be frank to ourselves. And the government is not being realistic by saying
60,000.
you want to give.
But then, if you are going into, a negotiation,
yes,
you don't go. You go with your best.
You put forth your best foot.
Your best
I understand that, but there should be a level playing ground.
Okay.
Where you know that the government cannot pay 400,000 for crying out loud.
So, what do you think?
At least 100,000 will have been a very good.
No, 150. 120.
Okay, within that range.
Okay.
Edo State just announced they are paying 70,000. Although some people feel is politically motivated. And all that. But then, whatever it is a good start. Why is it Zamfara? So they are going to start paying the 30,000 naira minimum wage that has been updated.
That has been,
So, in order to have a balance sheet, the both sides should really be realistic with their demands. Let's begin to look at between 100 and 150. Within that range is being realistic, but not what the both sides are proposing. I don't think they are ready yet, and the people are suffering. So I think the government should wake up, Labour should wake up. The both sides should really look at things, because there's a calculation that Labour use, and I won't blame Labour because the government is giving out so much taxes. You pay tax for electricity. We saw what happened during the electricity tariff and all that, and they are talking about the cyber security
levy.
So you see, when you put so much of this in place, you do your calculation. How much is a house rent where you stay now? How much do you pay? How much does it cost you to feed in a day? How much do you pay for transportation? Put all this together, you discover that 50 or 60,000 they are proposing is nothing to write home about.
All right, now let's talk about the education sector.
The education sector, I don't think the government is really putting its priority. They are not getting their priority right. Because let me take you back to the Nigerian government sponsored or gave a grant of 90 billion for pilgrimage, and then you gave education 1 billion. There's a mismatch. What are you trying to tell us? How can you give education 1 billion and then you're giving people who are going for Hajj, who is supposed to be a personal business?
They are going to pray to God, and we love to pray in Nigeria. We leave everything in the hands of
Nigeria. We can pray here. God is everywhere. He will hear us. All right? It's not by prayer, doing the needful. You can't tell me that you want to pray and then at the end of the day you don't do the needful, then God will answer you. No. You see, prayer without works is dead. Okay? If you pray and then you pay people right, you do the needful. If you invest in human capacity, education, okay, let's assume you're putting that 90 billion into education and then the 1 billion into the program. I don't say people should not go. Yes, is their right, but you should get your priorities right. You want to have well-trained graduates and all that, then you are putting just 1 billion. That is why we have so much unbaked graduates that they have to come out and you have to train and retrain them
to fit into
the system. So it's not far-fetched. They say an apple cannot fall far from its tree. This is what you get. It is garbage in, garbage out. So the government should be serious. Put your money where your mouth is.
Thank you so much for that very insightful analysis. And as we'll be taking the program home this very afternoon, I'd also want to ask you another question that concerns you as a stakeholder in the scheme of things back home in Ondo State. The gubernatorial aspirant under the All Progressives Congress, Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, a few days ago has withdrawn his petition against the APC and the current flag bearer of the party, who's also the present governor of Ondo State. And according to him, he said he did it out of his utmost respect he has for the president. Some Nigerians are saying that it goes way beyond that. It's after, they say hands.
No, say it. No, say it.
Listen.
No, say it, so that we can be able to discuss it proper.
It's more like the settlements have gone the way it should go, and some kind of promises have been made. Hence, the withdrawal of the petition.
No, the truth is this: the person of Senator Jimoh Ibrahim is a well-known person. He's a businessman. He's a business tycoon. And this is not his first time a kind of contesting election, controversial primaries, and others. But the truth is,
he's a business tycoon. That means he might be very vast in his negotiation skills.
You say every businessman whatsoever that comes to the table.
So his negotiation skills
I'm trying to come on board with something.
Okay.
So he's a businessman and he understands business, and he actually spent money for the primary.
Okay.
He moved across all the local government awards. And he never went empty-handed.
Bought front pages of newspapers.
Beyond the newspaper, what he spent more for delegates, for people, for party members in the state was very huge. But that is not the area I'm going. The truth is that he has a very good relationship with the president, His Excellency. And all the while that there was a kind of controversial primary election in the state, the president kept appealing to him and looking at the kind of case he actually had against the party, and videos and other documents that he has at his disposal. You know, but the truth remains that he came out to say that in honor of the 1-year anniversary, the 1-year scorecard of the president, he need to honor him with it. After the president called him on phone, they spoke on phone, and he actually went to meet him one-on-one, where they have the final discussion, and he don't have an option that to step aside.
So you think if Senator Jimoh Ibrahim, if he had not withdrawn his petition, you think he stood a chance to
win the case in the court? The truth is this: depending on the document, fact, and figure that he has.
But you just cited the fact that he had a lot of evidence.
Definitely. That is what gives him the effrontery to go to the court.
Okay.
So if you don't have those items with him, automatically it was a fight in futility. You understand? So, but the fact remains that now Ondo State is having a front line at the level of the party candidate, and that is the person of His Excellency Governor Ayedatiwa. And the truth remains that the governor actually have what it takes to win the forthcoming election.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Ade Mario. Our time is far spent. We really do appreciate your time for honoring our invitation. We do hope to have you on the program again some other time. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And this is where we draw the curtain on today's episode of the program. Do well to join us again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Francis Adeniyi. Bye till we meet again.